That was Mike DeMille on the trumpet playing our national anthems. Well done. And now the ceremonial toast. The taste of Sunday, as we always say, before the championship finals. Well, good morning, mixed curling fans. Welcome to the Utica Curling Club channel. I'm Roger Rowlett. I'll be one of your hosts today, and I'm here with MJ Walsh.
And it's always a great start to Sunday. I don't know how many times I've either participated or watched or led one of these processions, and it never fails to move. It's just such a great tradition of curling. And then it immediately dissolves in the hubbub of, good curling and getting out down to business.
Well, our feature game today is going to be an all-Utica affair for the championship final. It will be Eric Crumma's team versus Brian Moore's team. Brian Moore, of course, a veteran here at the club, and he's won the Cobb several times. And Eric Crumma is a relatively new up-and-coming curler, and has had really a great run this year. Won our bottom rung of our skips ladder. Had a great run in our men's championship. I had the fortune or misfortune of playing him twice and having him almost beat me both times. He's got a great men's rink, and he's got a great mixed rink out here as well, obviously, to make the championship finals.
Yep, this has been his breakthrough year and his 5th year of curling, so it's really been great to see. You're going to see the famed Utica knee slide in 3 of our players today. Both Eric and John Spicer, his second, as well as Brian Moore, all slide on the knee. A great opportunity for people with bad backs or other issues to continue in this great sport of curling.
And it's legal everywhere but Canada.
Well,
Canadians specifically outlaw this because they require you to put the right foot in the left hack if you're right-handed, or the left foot in the left hack if you are left-handed, and the knee slide has an opposite foot in the correct hack. So we have youth and inexperience versus old age and treachery here, I guess.
And they fortunately
I'm being unkind to Brian. He's not that old, so.
Yes, but still.
He's certainly the crafty veteran of these two teams, but we have the youthful exuberance and obvious success of our young team here in Eric Crumma.
And both teams should be well rested because they did not have a semifinal this morning. They played last night.
So Brian Moore's team will be playing the Blue Rocks, and will have the hammer here in the first end of our championship final game here in the 2017 Cobb.
And as is not uncommon here, you're a little slow to start. It will come up quickly to 24 seconds, though.
Lead Marge Moore for the Moore team. We should probably introduce our teams here.
Absolutely.
So Eric Crumma's team, Audrey Foote at lead, John Spicer playing second, Melissa Foote playing third, and Eric Crumma is the skip of this team.
And as the official old fart, would you like me to introduce the experienced team?
Sure.
That's Brian Moore at skip. I'm going to do from top to bottom. Carol Jones at vice, Dale Jones at second, and Marge Moore would lead.
Second lead rock here for Audrey Foote. Nice adjustment on the weight. And that rock nestles up for a nice tight guard.
Okay, so we're going for the corner game.
Yeah, playing against Brian Moore, you'll have lots of rocks in play. Likes getting the corner guards up.
Yes, if rocks give you heartburn, if you like a clean house, you don't like playing Brian. Yep, we're going to bring this one in. Just on the outside edge.
And one of the things you'll discover playing against Eric Crumma is he's pretty fearless. He's not going to chase that rock out there on the 12-foot, not even the first 10. He will not play defensively. He'll also play very aggressively and keep some rocks in play. So I waste no time calling a come around here. Second, John Spicer with his first. Really nice line and pretty good weight. Comes around for shot rock. It is partly exposed.
But Brian will have none of it and ask Dale to take both of them out.
Yep, clear away those centers. Removes only the top guard, but leaves a corner guard. Eric calling for a come around the corner here to try to set up 1-2 situation for the force. That doesn't get around the corner guard and now leaves the shot rock exposed. Brian will look to roll somewhere behind one of the two corners.
And got almost underneath with the roll.
And that rock's at least half under. It'll be a tough get. First rock for
Melissa.
Third, Melissa Foote. It's okay to chase one of the guards here and make sure you don't flash.
She got one.
Well, Scott's going to spin to the back of the rings. Might hang on for shot rock. Brian sweeping hard, and he does move that back far enough. So Brian continues to sit 2. The luxury of sitting 2 here is that Brian has time to chase off this near center guard.
Little tick. Little tick.
Third, Carol Jones with her first. Does successfully peel the guard, opens up the rings.
And there we saw a good example of the difference between playing with a lefty and a righty. That was Carol's intern, was it not? Yeah. And the interns for lefties curl a lot more than you might expect an outturn with the same path of a right-handed curler.
Just a little bit different angle from the hack to the broom, and it does make a little difference. Eric's going to have Melissa Foot chase off one of these shot stones here in the first end. Rock successfully chased, and now Brian has a chance to reestablish his deuce by going around the corner on the left-hand side. Timor looking pretty good here to set up for 2. Carol Jones with her second. Eric Crumme puts the broom on it, but can't move it back far enough. It does sit just in time to be second shot. There is a little pocket in the back. Skip Eric Crumme with his first, looking to freeze on shot stone in the back of the house.
This looks like it's going to tap.
Yep, just a little heavy maybe. Rubs off of shot stone and just a hair too heavy.
So now they're playing for 3. As I said, it might have been slow with the first 2 rocks, but it comes up quickly.
Hard to say whether or not Eric is second rock. It's pretty close in the back of the house. Let's take a look at our far house.
Oh, yeah.
I think Eric is actually second rock in the back. That's number 2. That's number 1. That's number 3.
Whatever you need for weight.
Yeah. One advantage of having 2 knee sliding skips, we have plenty of time to flip back and forth between them.
We have lots of time to fill, yes.
Yes. They don't have the sliders, so they don't get down up and down the ice as quickly as us flat-footed foes.
Looks like Brian is trying to remove that second rock. An attempt to sit 3 here. That will leave him sitting 2 behind T-line, so it will still leave a pocket or a freeze opportunity. Chance to apply some pressure, though, to the Chroma team early. Looks like that was a draw attempt, not a hit. And that came up short. Certainly looked like a hit with the broom in the back of the house, didn't it?
Well, the broom was there, but...
But the broom was next to the rock in the back of the house. It wasn't on T-line. Not sure what they were trying to do there, but that rock does come up short.
Especially since if you're going to draw, you would draw, I would think, going the other way. To be behind
Right.
your own guards instead of behind the yellow guard.
Go around the corner and then leave that yellow rock for the last. Well, this gives Skip Eric Crum a chance to get out of this end. He is second rock in the back 12, and if he can lock this freeze on
I'm not
to
sure
the pocket,
with that ice, I'm not sure he's freezing.
Yeah, it looks like tap weight. And that's an absolute pistol. Probably would have liked to have been frozen there. There's a possible double for 3 here. Brian can get to the nose of this rock and just chip out the yellow. Pretty tough shot. You have to get to the outside edge of this rock and hit this rock this way off that stone and send that one out of play. It is there. If you miss it, you get 1. Last rock for Brian Moore, first end. Is this perfect? He can get 3. It's got a nice angle. I think it's just going to jam.
Overcurl.
And it's going to overcurl, and it's going to give up a steal. And that rock overcurled, and that will be a steal of 1 for Team Chroma. They take a 1-0 lead after 1. Brian Moore will retain the hammer in the second end, playing the Blue Rocks. Yeah. We'll keep you updated on other scores in the middle panel of your screen.
Audrey with her first rock got caught out in a fresh path. They've only been the other way on this side instead of coming back wide for a guard. Comes up a little short.
Corner guard up again for Brian. Audrey Foot with her second. This side's still a little fresh and a little bit slower. That's a nice adjustment again by Audrey.
Brian must be calling to come around the outside of that corner guard.
Yep, the wide come around. That way if you're short, you don't leave a mess.
Right. Want to keep that center open.
Line's a little tight on this.
And again, very fresh ice out there. So he ends up with a double corner.
Second, John Spicer. Looking to set a center guard, and this is the curly side of the sheet, so they got caught on an extra curl. It is going to bounce to a nice center.
Let the peeling commence.
Yeah, the left-hand side of the sheet as we come back to the glass is the curly side of the sheet. And we talked about that a little bit during the Calder League final and also the college Bonspiel.
That's left from the thrower's perspective.
Yes, as our video watchers can see. Center guard successfully peeled. And Eric will just simply replace it. Going to go with the outturn this time.
That's just riding the center line, or the 4-foot line.
This is just a little slower. You have to throw a little harder down this line right now, and so it's not curling a lot. And that's going to come into the rings. This will give Brian a chance to hit and roll behind one of the corners. And that may not hang around. It's just going to bite on the 12-foot. And even though that is the curly side of the sheet, coming up the 4-foot lane, there is a straight spot that we've seen. And that rock ran pretty straight.
Well, ice reading is probably one of the more arcane parts of our sport. And it takes a keen eye to recognize that, and it really requires us throwers to be on the broom. Says she who's grateful not to be a skip.
Well, there's spots on the ice you got to realize you can't be wide on this spot, or you can't be narrow on this spot. It can be very unforgiving.
And the brushers participate in that need to participate in that knowledge also. And this one's just narrow.
Well, it was a little light too, and it's going to over curl. And that was probably just through the ring's weight, I guess.
Yep.
And can't hold the line with that weight.
Nope.
Certainly didn't give ice for that takeout weight. So now Brian sits one exposed and will look to draw behind that pile of blues. Try to set up the deuce here.
Riding the 4-foot line again for quite some time before it starts to move.
You know, that side's still a little bit straighter and still slow. Eric's going to chase the one on the 12-foot again. There is a roll available to get behind the corners.
Looks like she's thrown quite a bit more.
A little more weight this time, and this looks a little bit better. And it knows how much straighter that ran with that weight.
Mm-hmm. So no roll.
Mission accomplished. That's shot rock. We have a query from one of our viewers as to the length of these games. These are 8-in games, so we don't torture them like we do in the men's finals. These will be 8-in games.
For which the teams who played 8:30 semifinals are eternally grateful.
I suppose it could be worse. In the Briars of yore, they played 12, so.
Oh my.
I guess 10 wasn't enough. 12's better. With the corn brooms on top of all that.
And heavy ice.
And heavy ice. Fun all around. And that just rubs on the guard. And again, that's just a little bit of a straight spot over there. It gets a really nice roll.
Beautiful.
Rubs the corner guard, and I'm not sure if it's shot, but if it's not, it's really close. Let's give a look at our near house view.
Of course, skips never cooperate by getting out of the way.
Yeah, they always stand in front of the rocks.
And we are directly behind them, so we can't see from our booth up here in the warm room either.
It looks really close, to be honest. From our angle, we can't tell, but blue may be shot.
Well, all of you who might be out there watching, if any of you are new to our wonderful sport of curling and you have questions about what all the yelling's about or what the broom slapping and broom positions are about, send us your questions and we'll answer them for you here.
Eric Crummah with his first rock. I'd like to remove this rock on the center line, and he got caught in the straight spot again. Yep, just set it out a hair, and that's a very unforgiving spot. That side of the sheet is very straight.
Something new to this sheet. I saw it, I think, the first time about a week ago.
I think it's taking lessons from sheet 2.
Yes.
And it's learned them pretty well. But it has been doing that at least the second half of the season. There's been a little bit of a straight run down the 4-foot lane on sheet 3, our championship sheet. And that blue on the center line is a very tappable rock, and would be a nice one to get rid of. It's one of the things that Brian could do, just repeatedly tap that rock in. Tap it in and tap the one you hit it with in, and you can keep playing that game all day.
So, but they're going after yellow, which must mean that they think it's shot.
Yeah, it's very close. They gave a good look at both, and I think they just want to run this off and try to sit 3. All games are now through one end of play. All ones, except for sheet 5. They decided to blank their first end. Sheet 5 is Petersham, Brialt against Utica Kessler. And they just completed their second end, and Brialt took 2. 3, sorry, to take a 3-0 lead after 2 ends of play.
That's a really nice and very good team over there on sheet 5 from Petersham.
Back to our feature sheet. Brian Moore with a hit and roll attempt, and he gets caught in the curl too. If you throw lightweight down that line, we've seen that already. Melissa's first shot over curled. Well, decision for Eric Crumma.
Yeah, looks like they're looking at the draw.
Is his last stone.
Take out.
I like getting a second rock in or running a rock off. You know, it only depends on whether what your goal is here this end. If he is shot on the 12-foot, then drawing in here to sit 1-2 is clearly the best call. That'll force Brian to shot from 1. The downside here is if you come up with this, you're going to drop 3. So this is one of those critical moments. Unfortunately, you can't really hit that exposed rock on the top 12 and roll for second shot. So that's really the dilemma here. So looking to come around the corner here. Looks like there's plenty of weight here.
I'm not sure they think so.
Oh, it's starting to dig in.
We're going to put 4 brooms on it, which isn't going to make a difference, but maybe they can get it there.
Well, he certainly has outcounted one of those stones, so he can't drop more than 2. And the question is he 1 and 2? It's really close again. That was a good sweeping effort. Let's look at our near house view. It's really tight. They're looking it over. I think Eric might be 1 and 2 here.
I think regardless, it's going to end up being a measure.
I'm guessing they're going to wind up hitting one of those yellow rocks and hoping it's for 2. Unless they're convinced they're 1 and 2, and then they're just going to have to play for maybe a split for 2.
Mm-hmm.
And that center stone is definitely splittable, and Brian's looking at that. Throw T-line back for weight and catch a half a rock, and you should be able to spin 2 of them in. So on our big board here, we're just looking to throw a draw and roll 1 in this way and roll the other rock, and they just need to almost touch just full 12, really. So looking to play the split. Just want to catch that center blue stone. And a half a rock or thinner, even a third of a rock would be about right. Not a lot of weight here. And will this even get there? It'll be enough to be shot. No, it will not. It wrecked. And I think that could be a steal of 2. They did touch up the 1 blue rock a little bit. They just touched up the middle blue rock. So
but that was already 3rd rock, so.
And the question is, did they poke it up for shot? And they're going to give them all a good look now. I think this is going to be a measure, and we have no idea. It's anywhere from 2 blue to 2 yellow. That was a shot where you could be back 4 and back 8 and still make something out of it. And Brian came up top 12 and just not enough weight to do the split. And may not have been enough to push up the target rock for shot. It's going to be awfully close.
Now, if we go to the near house view, will we be able to see the meter and the measuring stick at all?
No, we're not.
Oh, okay.
We're not over the middle of the house. So
Okay.
our camera's right here up behind us on the booth.
Oh, that's true.
When we get our full CSPN equipment, maybe we can zoom in on those rocks. The Cheapo Sports Programming Network. Didn't look like it touched that one at all. Yep, so the question is, where does this rock? And that one's close as well. It's a very close measure. And that one's definitely shot. So 1.
Steal of 1.
Just a steal of 1.
I assume since they didn't move the blue or the yellow.
Yeah, we'll go for that. So a second steal for Eric Crumma's team. After 2 ends to play, he leads 2-0, at least as far as we know.
And we'll get busy updating the scoreboard for you. Everybody else is already in the 3rd. Nope, that's not true. Yes, that is true.
So Brian Moore will have, shooting the blue rocks, will still have the hammer here in the 3rd end of play. And we'll run through our electronic scoreboard and get everybody updated.
And Audrey puts her first one right on tee. And looks like we're going to commence hitting.
With that rock sitting on the pin, Brian is going to remove that to open up the rings instead of throwing the corner guard here. And successfully removed. In our last, one of our viewers points out we've seen a lot of steals, and our last streamed game and this one, the Hammer team has scored precisely 1 point out of, or 2 points out of 10 ends played. Hammer has not been kind so far. Audrey Foote, nice weight there to remove shot rock. This side of the sheet that they're throwing this in turn down is just a little bit straight, so throwing just a nice board weight hit is the order of the day. Don't want to overthrow it. Marge Moore with her second, trying to remove the stone as well, and she started this rock just a little bit. Well, if Eric Crum is hitting top 4, that's a really ideal rock for steal. Going to ask John Spicer here to throw a center guard over that. And this is the Curly side. They'll have a hard time holding this. They are doing their best. And they need to stop sweeping so it won't overcurl. Pretty good. Shot rock is about half exposed though, so that guard overcurled just a hair. Probably could have come up on that just after the hog line and let it settle in. Well, second, Dale Jones being asked to throw a lightweight come around. Try to tap this shot stone back. If you wreck on the guard, it's not a bad result. You roll for 2 corners. And that stone was out there for a long time and just really back 4 weight. Back 4, back 8 weight, and it just spins off. It actually noodles the rock over to a better position. And now Eric could be very happy to run this blue stone off. Probably want to roll away here. John Spicer with his second. That's a lot of weight. Still going out. Going to catch just enough, and actually that's a good result. Probably don't want to sit around back there for a hit and roll. Now the Crumma rock on the 4-foot is completely buried. And Brian will have to run the center guard. Straight peel here would be fine. And accomplished.
And so
Now-
call to
now-
replace.
Now Melissa Foot called to replace the guard, one of the two Feet sisters.
Folks who joined us in 2 Olympic cycles ago, I believe.
Yes.
Become staples of the club.
And very fine curlers both. Yeah, you just need to sweep this one back to the center line, and it's all about line here. And that one drifts in the house. They needed to get it over to cover the shot rock, but now it's a little deep, and now a double's available. But as one of our top skips here at the club says, you know, no double is ever assured at this level of play. Even though that looks like an easy double, there are hardly any gimmies.
It's going to be a straight peel.
And that's just going to chip the top one off. And that'll give Eric Krumma a chance to make that center guard a little better.
And for all you people, all you leads out there that throw a lot of guards, you see how hard it is, what you're doing?
And we talked about that in the earlier game, is that throwing guards on swingy ice is in fact not easy at all. It really takes a complete team effort to manage the curl and the weight.
Body language seems to indicate they're a bit heavier than they wanted to be. And this one's not coming up.
Yeah, it's going to give a little separation. And that is not an easy double at all now. Hard to keep your shooter and get the double. You have to hit it perfect. Need to hit about 2/3 of a rock here to get the double. Carol Jones with her second. And she did set that one out. Trying to put a little extra weight on that shot, and it got away from her.
But also a pretty good indication of how the mental aspect of the game is so important. You know this is an important shot. And sometimes it gets in your head. Different teams have different ways of dealing with that stress, just relaxing. Vice on our mixed team uses humor, and that works with me. And other teams, they just want to be quiet and be able to focus. You'll see a lot of elite curlers will say great shot after every shot and attempt to keep that team morale up and loose and making the shots easy to throw.
All right, so a guard in order here. Hard to guard everything in this spot, so probably want to cover a good portion of the top stone. This looks like a lot of weight. It's coming down though. Eric was a little wide on that. It may have scrubbed some weight off. Getting out into the fresh pebble, and that's going to come right into the top,
cut hard.
top four. Well, the 4 foot is definitely cut off here, but I think Brian will be able to move a couple stones. With 2 rocks left, Brian would like to see some portion of the house that he can draw to and outdraw one of those yellow stones. With that many rocks sitting close together, there has to be a double somewhere. I think Brian wants to hit this rock just a little bit on the high side, that is the left, as we look down the sheet at the house. I think a dead nose might jam and sit behind the other rock on the top 4. First rock for Brian Moore in the 3rd end.
Wow.
And this one over curled.
He's just going to get the 1.
And he's going to get the 1 on the right-hand side.
Of course, everybody else has been coming down the other side, so they hadn't seen this line.
Well, Crummell lies 2. Brian frozen on an angle on the top one. The way the angles are set up, I'm not sure there's a double on these 2 yellows. I think this rock goes this way, even with heavy weight. So I'm not sure Brian has a double to score his 2. So I think Eric is going to be satisfied to guard those stones and see what Brian is going to do. And this guard is not heavy. They need to bring this over if they can. It's coming over.
All the way to center line. Nope, they're not going to make it.
Again,
lost the handle at the end.
Again, just got out a little wide on that. Now, Brian and Marge are sizing up some possible doubles. If you can hit all you can see here, that goes out that way. That goes out that way. That would be for 2. Brian's last one over curl. Don't know if he started that rock a little bit. If this one over curls and you chip off the top blue, that will not be a happy outcome.
Oh, no.
For Team Moore. And if you hit this top yellow wide, it's only a steal of 1. Last rock. 3rd in, Brian Moore.
And we're running on that 4-foot line again. This is the straighter side.
That's the straight spot.
Going to pick the back one.
It's going to pick the back one, and that'll be another steal of 1 for Eric Crummell. Three straight steals for Team Crummell. After 3 ends of play, they lead 3-0. Fourth end. Team Crum has got a 3-0 lead. Brian Moore with the Blue Rocks will have the last rock advantage in this fourth end.
And as we often said on our team today, if we averaged ourselves out, we'd have good weight. A little deep, so Audrey will be called to hit this one out.
You're down 3-0. Brian's looking for a corner guard there, and that just slipped a bit deep. Audrey Foote with her first. And, you know, they're catching some curl here. Nice weight. This will be a very nice stone. Once again, really gorgeous weight from Audrey Foote. Didn't overthrow it.
You don't always need to throw nuclear weight, shall we say.
Well, anyone watching the Scotties yesterday in their marquee matchup, Carey against Holman, was commenting about Carey's team just simply throwing too much weight for their shots, and that for wide open rocks, there's just no reason to throw the nuclear weight. A nice board weight shot lets you control it with the brooms. It's forgiving if you're wide or a little bit narrow. Marge Moore with her second successfully removes the stone. Nice weight, rolls to another spot on the sheet. This is the little straight spot here, so have to be a little careful. And Eric's not going to chase that, even with a 3-0 lead, as he plays very aggressively. He wants a center guard here. Keep the pressure on. His formulas work for him all week. It worked for him during the Club Men's Championship, and it worked for him during the Mitchell Bonspiel, where he had an excellent run as well.
Yeah, we're going to be a little heavy here.
And that will come in and allow Brian to hit.
Well, we're past the free guard zone anyway, so.
Right.
And he would have liked that top 12.
The problem is if you throw the guard, you can peel the guard, but you won't be in the house. Now,
right.
If Brian can hit this rock and sit two. If he gets a nice roll somewhere, he can sit two, split.
Exactly. Or two guarded, albeit in the back of the house.
Right. And Dale Jones hit that straight spot again and got it a little wide.
We'll go for the back one. Plan B. Gotta love those plan Bs.
Trying to stick in the back, but Eric's going to be able to get that out. Now here is Eric Crumme with a rock on the top four again, and an excellent opportunity to steal or put some pressure on the Moore team. A nice guard here. And you'll notice the broom that Eric is taking here. He's only taking 2 feet of ice on this side. So Eric Crumme is a little wise beyond his years for young Skip. He's done a very nice job of ice reading, I think, all year long. And the sweeping hard to get this pulled over. Boy, that was a nice sweeping job. They got that pulled almost, got at least half of the rock covered maybe. Good effort. Just a little bit light on that guard, so they didn't get the finish they needed.
Brian is called for a hack weight hit. So we can hopefully get a roll under the yellow guard. Nice.
Just through the ring's weight. Very nice. Good recovery by Dale Jones with his second. Very nice touch shot. Now that rock is really only about quarter to a third exposed.
So Eric will throw a setup shot. Up to the corner freeze.
Just going to freeze to it to cut down the scoring area. It's,
and if opportunity exists, you then pop it with your next.
yeah, you could pop it later.
No sense in chasing something you can barely see. Although on this side, you might be able to get there.
I think you could with the right weight, but the line was really nice on this, and it was just a little lighter than we would want. That leaves Brian sitting one. Now well guarded. That's a pretty nice Christmas tree setup with those three guards.
Same thing. Just a little top there is nice.
And the question is, where do you put your second rock?
rock.
Yeah, you're not getting behind the one that's on the top four without giving Eric Crummah something. I almost think you go wide here. This is a case where Eric can freeze to that shot stone with impunity, but Brian goes there, he just sets up a double.
Exactly. So Brian does indeed choose to go wide. I'm not sure anybody's been out this far on this side yet.
Well, it looks like he's maybe going top 12, right on the 4-foot line, something along those lines. And they got caught on the slow side again, and that's going to come up short. So that'll give Eric a chance to play that freeze again. The main thing for Eric here is you want to cut down the scoring area so you don't give Brian a really easy deuce just by drawing the house. And the other thing you got to watch out for is not leaving this one wide like a pigeon for Brian to hit and roll off of.
This one definitely has more weight.
This has a little more weight, but if they get by, this might be a nice shot. It's just going to click, and that's going to be a pigeon. Now Brian can hit and roll off that. Did open things up a bit too. That was the other thing, is Brian's shot rock has now been opened up.
So will he choose to roll away or try to roll under?
I think he's trying to tap up his own blue, actually.
Oh.
He's going to leave the pigeon for later. And that's a pretty nice split. There's a double. Perhaps. There might be a jam.
I was going to say, will the top blue jam on the top yellow?
Yeah, I think you'll lose probably everything. I think Eric's just going to play the freeze on the shot rock, and that's not a bad call. So ideally, Eric would like to freeze right in that location. Again, cutting down the rings, out counting that rock, and making it a little bit harder for Brian to score 2.
And we know they curl here, but that looks like it's got a little more weight than perhaps they wanted.
It's coming over.
Can always tap and roll.
Starting to walk. And that's going to rub and roll right to a good spot. But it pushes up Brian to sit first and second. So Brian will have to cover that path because the yellow rock is in a great spot for a raise. Takeout. So 1 and 2. Brian Moore wants something to cut off that raised takeout.
You do what you want to do. I even like this. Yes, come on! Because the thing is, if you do this, you're opening it up.
Now, assuming he makes this shot, they still have the yellow to blue on the second shot.
Well, if they leave an opening, Garrett can even come off the blue on the 4-foot.
Right.
A little bit of a tight shot. He's got a couple of ways to spin one closer to the 4-foot and come off his own yellow and come off Brian's blue on the edge of the 4-foot.
It's going to come in to freeze on the yellow.
Well, that's an interesting spot.
Let's go close up on this, if we can.
We can indeed.
Oh, what I meant is if Eric, being a rather tall skip,
Yes.
presents some broadcast problems.
The question is, can you hit this blue rock, drive it into the yellow, and drive the yellow into the blues? That would be interesting. The other option is just to come down and spin off one of those rocks on the outside. And that's what they're looking at. And Brian's covered up Eric's third shot pretty well, so he could just come off one of those two stones and roll under. Either one will work.
Question is, how exposed would it be and how far can they, which of course depends on how far they can roll it without getting behind tee.
It's a pretty tight squeeze to get the blue rock, I think, and so the other option is to simply run the blue into the yellow. It's all a little bit dangerous because if you open things up, it gives Brian a chance to draw for 3.
Yeah, I don't think Brian likes running the blue in the top 12 on. He's worried about the angles. It's liable to go over the top of the yellow on the 8-foot near center line. So they're looking at the outside 2 rocks.
Seems to me if you throw a hack waiter somewhere down there, if you could ever catch the blue rock on the side of the 4-foot, you'd be golden. I mean, this is your ideal scenario, is play a nice hack weight shot, get some curl, and roll that puppy underneath to the button area. And that serves 2 purposes. You get rid of a blue, and you might get shot. Even if you get rid of the blue, then it makes Brian's deuce a little more difficult. It looks like that's what they're going to call. And I like this call. If you hit the yellow rock really thin, you might accomplish the same goal. And if you do touch up the blue, I think if you hit any of the blue you can see, you're probably spinning right to shot. This side does curl. So with the right weight, and it's hooking really hard. And they just wrecked. The good news is that
there's nothing for Brian on that side,
Brian
so he's going to have to go out in the
right.
weeds.
Brian has nothing on this side. That's easy. So to get his 3, he'll have to come around the wide side, and he has to almost get to the 4-foot. So Brian is going to try to come in here, but who knows what the weight is out there, out on the edge of the 12. Yeah, this is in the tall grass. Sweepers aren't going to come up on this no matter what. They were going hard all the way. It's going to be close.
Need full 8.
And that looks like shot rock.
Yeah, well
That's
done.
a 3. Nice adjustment on the weight. The sweepers didn't give up on that at all. They were ignoring all advice and sweeping all the way down.
It was a great cold draw.
So we've reduced an 8-in game down to 4. After 4 ends of play, we're all tied up. Team Crumma playing the Yellow Rocks will have the hammer here in the 5th end.
It'll be interesting to see what effect this has on them mentally.
Well, having played Eric a number of times, it won't affect him at all.
Oh, that's great. But there are 3
So,
other members of the team. This
yep.
is a team sport. In fact, this is the ultimate team sport. Every single member of the team can make a shot excellent or can make a shot very, very bad. And we'll go around the sheets and update the scoreboards for you. Everybody is in the 4th end now. Sorry, the 5th end now. Our first rock underway, and almost center guard, 5th end.
And the draw of the wings here.
A little deep.
A little bit deep. First chance for the hammer for Team Crumma. They played 4 ends without the hammer. Hard to get rich stealing. Would have liked to get out of that last end without dropping 3, but tie game. They get the hammer for the first time, so advantage Team Crumma. Tied with the hammer here in the 5th. Marge Moore with her second. That draw attempt slips through the rings.
That's okay. I don't mind.
Eric's changed things up a bit. It's going to draw around the center guard now instead of drawing out to the wings. Audrey with her second. This one also looks a little warm. Might hang around. Nope, that one's going to go through too. Well, maybe not. Could be a little flip back there.
If nothing else, it's something to jam against.
Yep.
Or to catch, depending on who.
Yep. To catch a rock. All right, first hog to the trough this end, I guess. Dale Jones trying to come around the center guard. And this one goes to behind T-line as well. Back four. Now John Spicer with the draw.
Well, he does have backing, but he doesn't really want to come all the way to the backing. He would prefer to be top four, maybe bite the button, but if you're all the way back, there's still room for another rock there.
This one doesn't look light either.
And he's... Oh. This is the curly side, but...
Yep, it's going to come back. It's going to come back. But just a little heavy. That's going to bounce off. Shot rock. All behind T-line now. Playing behind T this end.
Down. Really down. Yes.
As I've often said, behind T-line playing for one. This one is quite wide, and that is going to jam on Brian's rock. Does roll far enough, though. That one's definitely a flip.
Blue is still...
Blue is shot, but you could ignore that rock and draw around. That rock can be killed later. Yep. I like going around the corner guard. Can always bring that flip into play by hitting that rock in the back 12 later. Sweepers are not touching this.
It's a nice little pop at the end of that, which gave a little too much weight.
Line was pretty good on this rock. It's just going to slip a little deep. It is going to sit. It is going to sit for shot rock. Back 12. Everything's behind T-line, though. No one's found the magic weight yet here to get above T-line. I'm guessing the more they throw down this line, the faster it's going to get. It'll be a constant chase to adjust for the weight.
We got in that trap earlier today in the A semifinals with my team. We kept taking it off, and it kept getting faster.
Yeah, you can get to a point where the ice is really slow to begin that you can't chase the changing weight fast enough. Again, the sweepers are not on this one either. Now they're working it a bit. And that's going to go right to the back. And actually, that'll leave Eric still shot. Now, Eric Crummett has got a chance to lie two. And they got rid of the two flibs. In the process. Well, who's going to get to the 4-foot first? This is Melissa Foot's turn. And again, the sweepers are just walking beside it. This line is really slicked up now. Been about 5 rocks down this path.
Mm-hmm. And I'm betting each one was thrown lighter than the first and went. So we found back 8 now.
Well, Eric lies 2, but again, all behind T lines, so hard to score 2 back there. Now Carol Jones, we've been trying to get around this center guard to top 4 now since the second set of lead rocks.
No, sweepers have gone down on this one, so we may have found it.
And perhaps overswept.
Oh,
that
dear.
one's going right to the back, and that's going to bounce off. And Eric Crum is still sitting 1. Team that gets to the top 4 here buried is going to have an advantage. This is awfully tight ice.
I was just thinking, I know it curls very hard coming back.
If they throw the correct weight here, this is going to curl a ton. And this is not wide. And Eric gets them on right away. The weight's a little better on this one. Question is, can they get by the guard?
I think so.
But they're by the guard if they've got the weight. And they just need to get this almost on the 8-foot.
Nope.
And it's not going to be enough. So that one comes up short.
All right, so now we can finally recalibrate. If you keep throwing them deep, sometimes that's what it takes to get the right weight.
And Melissa's rock fully buried with the line they took. They just barely got by the guard. Brian taking just a shade more ice.
Now, is Brian a lefty?
He is a lefty.
Both he and Carol.
So this will be the lefty in turn. This should curl hard. Eric Crumma with the yellow rocks. Sitting shot, but behind T-line. Brian Moore with his first. They're in the 5th end. And this rock will join the party in the back.
But he will catch the shot rock.
And sit shot. So rocks neutralized. Eric's considering whether to spin that blue off the top yellow and sit 2, but that'll still leave him sitting behind T line.
Well, that's not ice for a draw.
Looks like he's going to try to spin that blue rock off the back and sit 2.
And somewhere, someplace on some sheet wants somebody to sweep
Sheet
hard.
2.
Yes. That's Manitic
Yeah.
1.
Yep.
Or 2. I've forgotten which.
It's a lot of weight here. It's going to curl, though. It's going to curl. And that's going to spin it out.
Beauty.
So that leaves Eric sitting 2. He is behind T-line, however, so Brian Moore will have a chance here to draw top 4.
And he looks like he might be thinking of coming the other way.
Well,
he's the only one who's thrown out that far
Right.
the other way, so no, they're going to stick with the
you
curly side.
want to count those 2 rocks out. I think you need to get frozen or you need to be top 4 buried.
Yep. This is the only way to come at it.
Certainly this turn is quicker and it's a known quantity. Been down this path several times. Should be very sweepable. And there's plenty of curl here. Eric's rock curled completely underneath those 2 corners to push Brian Stone back. In fact, he overcurled to get a nice roll. So Brian will need to come up with a good draw here. Eric knew he'd be leaving this out when he played the last shot, but it does apply a little pressure. Sitting 2. Last rock for Brian Moore. 5th end. And this looks like it'll be light.
Never count out sweepers. It's more the line.
Yep. And it's going to rack on the yellow. This leaves an open draw now.
Get 3 right back.
Open draw for 3. Can come to the backers. It's just a straight draw. I really shouldn't think about anything other than just putting this on T-line. Don't really need to hit a stone. Eric's looking at hitting one of the rocks on the back 12, but really not necessary.
And that's getting greedy.
Well, he can't really bring any more stones into play, I don't think. Maybe he can. Let's take a look at the far house and see what he's looking at. Yeah, he may be sitting 1st, 2nd. This is 3rd.
Maybe 4th.
4th, and so getting rid of, and this one is, I think, 5th, yeah. So hitting this rock here.
And it looks like he's going for it. That
Hitting
is
this
not
rock,
draw weight ice.
Hitting this rock may score 4 this end. Eric is sitting 4th rock. Just throwing a tap back. Can't throw a lot of weight at this.
Especially since it's got a curl.
But it will curl. Got to give it a chance here.
Oh, guys.
And here it comes. It's got to get to the inside of the stone. And that is a fine shot, and that should be 4. High fives all around. That looks like a 4 spot.
Cool, calm, and collected. The youth comes roaring back.
Youth and exuberance took that end. I believe that's 4. We'll wait for the score. Indeed. That was a 4 spot.
And a quick thumbs up from Eric to his dad, Mike, here up in the warm room on that one.
Well, lots of chances to stick a rock above tee line. No one could do it, and Eric had the last stone, so he had the
final say.
He had the final say, and so after 5 ends of play, Eric Crum takes a 4-point lead, 7-3 over Brian Moore. Brian Moore with the Blue Rocks will have the hammer here in the 6th end, down 4.
And Audrey is very happy about her guard. She finally got her perfect guard. It's the thing you gotta love about curlers. They don't get mad, they just keep on keeping on. Brian's got a big smile on his face. As you may be able to hear in the background, we have quite the crowd here in the warm room and a lot of exuberance as people are following different games on different sheets. So with 2 staggered guards up front, Brian's coming around.
I think we have our scoreboard up to date. A correction on sheet 1. Man of Burlington leads Bourguignon of RCMP 5-3, and RCMP has the hammer of this end.
The curly side strikes again.
Well, there's a bucket of rocks up front, so here we go. First hog to the trough again, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who's going to find that magic above tee line buried shot? John Spicer's turn, playing second for Eric Crum. Trying to out-turn, come around. Quite a bit of ice they're taking on this side, though. That's 3 foot of ice. John was a bit narrow and a bit heavy. It's coming down, though. This is the slow side, right? Now it's starting to curl, and Brian puts his hand up. He knows that's going to bury. And it goes right top button, and it's about half buried. Top 4. It's going to be hard to hit that rock, though, with that straight side of the ice. You throw any weight, I don't think it's going to curl up very much. So
Brian's going to try to open the center.
Brian's going to blow it up here. Too many center guards in play. Dale Jones. Peel weight shot.
And gets
And
shot
that's
off.
going to nut it. Still shot. Stone higher now. Top 8. Eric's just going to cover up. Guards up front are staggered. You can't really use them easily for runbacks. This one's coming in nice. I think they can tuck this around the blue guard. And that's an absolutely beautiful shot. So Eric Crum is actually back from the Kaiser, which is the 5 and under spiel in the GNCC. We lost only 1 game and somehow wound up in the F event. I'm not sure how that works. And here he is in the finals of the Cobb. Apparently he just needs better competition.
Well, I'm sure at Broomstones with 4 sheets, and I believe there were 45
There were a lot of teams.
You end up with draws all over the place.
Brian's in a pickle here. He's got to move some stones, I think, to get access to the 4-foot. These are not easy to draw around. He's going to try to tickle these yellows if he can, if he clears off the center blue. That will at least open up access. And this rock curled early. It might have been started a bit.
All over the guards. We'll clear some of them.
Oh,
just one.
almost spun a yellow in. That would have been disastrous, but it goes right over the top. Yeah, I think a high guard is in order. Well, this will be a high guard. They get it over, and that's a good line. Good spot. Over curls a hair, maybe. Does leave the 2-shot rocks just ever so slightly exposed. Not very appetizing, though, on that straight side of the ice.
Well, we're well on our way to raising the funds to get the high-quality C-SPAN cameras we were talking about, otherwise known as the Cheap Sports Network. We've just had a dime donation.
We're going to change our name from the Utica Curling Club channel to CSPN, the Cheapo Sports Programming Network. We do want to give out a shout out, though, to our benefactors that have helped us install some new equipment here. Pretty soon we'll have the ability to broadcast from all 4 sheets, 2 through 5. Well, Brian managed to peel off one of the yellow guards, but he does leave a couple staggered blues and a high yellow, and I think Eric Crum's just going to add to the guard party here. And at some point, Brian may be looking at drawing the forefoot around all of those yellow stones. So again, this side's still a little bit slow. That looked like Melissa came out pretty hot, but that's going to be another nice guard. It's going to overcurl a little bit.
It may be the straighter side, but with that weight, it's going to curl all day long.
It does protect those two yellows, so now Brian's really just left with coming around. Too late to peel now, this late in the end. Carol Jones, the third, shooting now. And they're just going to have to draw the forefoot. Trying to draw the forefoot as many times as they can here, I guess.
Oh, curly side is striking again.
Yeah, and he's
the
weight actually was not bad, but
we played a game here last Sunday, a week ago exactly, and we found we could almost not take enough ice for a guard. And we were well out on the outside edge of a 12-foot for a guard and a little bit more in for draws, but it was amazing how much it was curling. Thank you, Iceman.
Yep. Well, Erica's going to try to curl around this intern side, cut off the path to the forefoot. This is the curlier side, so it'll be a little easier to get to the forefoot from this side. The other side's really slow, and it's a little bit more of a challenge. I tell you, a really nasty shot here would be to get buried top four on this side, and that would just be a killer. But this is going to overcurl also. Not quite enough weight. And it got caught on this really curly side, so that's going to leave Brian another chance.
They're hoping for a bounce here.
Yeah, got a little bounce into the open, and it's going to make that a little bit tougher. Going to push Brian out another foot.
He'll need to be out another foot.
Now it gets a little strange out here. If you get far enough out, it'll run straight. And it brings that outer blue guard into play.
Brian setting up for his first shot.
Just going to try to draw one into the top four here. There's plenty of curl unless they got out too far wide, and that's what I don't know.
Well, none of them know because no one's been out this far yet.
We haven't seen it yet, but there is a point where it will stop curling out here. Let's see how this rock runs. Yeah, it's starting to bend now. Just got by that outer blue, and now Eric is going to put his magic broom down. See if he can pull this back, and he does. So Eric's still sitting one. Brian Stone now out counting the one on the top 12.
His vice recommending
follow that one down high. Want to go top four here.
Yep, she says either a guard or top four.
Brian just threw this, and I would just cut this one off because this is where you get the bury. And I think if Eric can stuff one top four here, that'll just add a lot of pressure. Anything but behind T-line here will force Brian into a tough draw. He'll be on the slow side.
Which he did successfully draw.
He did.
In the fourth.
But since Brian just threw this one, I think this is the... You got to go one way or the other. And I love this side here with a curl. think the only way you can hurt yourself here is to go deep. Not that you really hurt yourself, but you make it easier, I think, for Brian to get his one. Last shot, 6th in for Eric Crum.
This looks like it's got some weight. Well, maybe not.
Need to get it by this guard. And he's just light. He's going to bounce off.
But still.
It squeezes up the port a little bit. So you couldn't take enough ice on that side, apparently. It's going to force Brian into the his in-turn draw. Going right to left here down the sheet. This will be the slower side.
Full 8, bite 4. He's good.
Yeah, he needs to definitely full 8. Made this draw 2 ends ago. Made this exact same draw to score 3 in the 4th end to tie the game up. Last shot, 6th in, Brian Moore, drawing against 1.
May have gotten caught in the frost.
And he did not make the same adjustment he made in the
4th end, yeah.
4th end. This is going to come up light, and that'll be another steal of 1 for Team Crumma, and they will take a 5-point lead going into the 7th end. So after 6, Eric Crum 8, Brian Moore 3. Brian Moore playing the Blue Rocks will have the hammer here in the 7th end.
Our center guard comes a little deep. And that's a good thing because it's not a center guard.
If they're not in the middle, then you definitely want to bring them in when you don't have hammer. They don't do any good if you give the other team a corner. I hate those gift corner guards.
But, boy, you could really see the swing on the ice there.
Yeah, when the weight comes off.
That went 5 feet, 4 feet.
Corner guard attempt by Marge Moore.
It's also going to go into the rings.
And this is going to swing a ton as well. And that's going to go in the rings. I think with a 5-point lead, I'd want to chase that rock. The only question is which way you want to come at it. Go outside in. Audrey throws good weight.
Out in the frost. Beautiful rock.
And nice weight. That should be enough to get it through. Eric gives it a little bit of sweep to make sure. The shooter stayed off the rings, and so Eric still lies only one. Now Brian, with no guards in play, is going to have to start freezing to everything, or maybe get one more chance, I guess. He's going to throw another corner guard. Still got the free guard zone here. Kind of. They're going to hit it anyway, I think.
Mm-hmm. So he's called for a corner guard on the side that they just hit, in hopes, I would imagine, that any hit attempt might jam on that yellow left by Audrey's first
Yeah,
hit.
well, it sets up an ugly peel, but also it gives Brian a chance to hit and roll later in the end underneath the corner. So he can move that yellow rock out of the way.
Sometimes your throwers do know their rocks the best. He's calling for a sweep much earlier than the skip there.
Yep.
Try to keep the line.
Well, the thrower might know if they started it a little bit.
Exactly.
John Spicer playing a little tap up. This may turn into a split. And that doesn't roll onto the rings, unfortunately. Almost. Does open things up a bit.
Brian's just going to come right around.
Yeah, Brian needs to get around something here.
That's a protected area. That's a, well, you could come down and bump the yellow that's closer to the center line.
I just want to come around that yellow, tight yellow center corner guard.
If he makes it around, what yellow can do about that rock.
You could probably run it off and open things up.
I'm always planning ahead. Keeps the game moving.
Dale Jones with a come-around attempt, this wide yellow corner. The weight looks pretty good. Now the question is, will they get by? And it just looks like they're going to
sneak right on by.
Oh, they're going to sneak. And they did get by. A very nice shot by Dale Jones. Can only see about half that rock. I think you chase it. If you hit the yellow card, then no harm done.
Which is what I think Eric just indicated to his second.
Yeah, come inside out here. Make sure one of those rocks goes away. The only thing you don't want to do is flash one wide. And John started that a little bit. Good weight. Going to get the yellow one. Make sure you roll this away. That's the main thing. And that's just fine. Look at this roll. That is a beauty. That is an absolute beauty. Eric Crumme sits first and third and fourth. Brian Moore sits second, exposed. Brian's looking maybe to freeze to shot rock here as a setup. And that one comes up short. It actually provides the center guard.
Hard to tell from the angles here, even if you ran it. You might end up with a yellow jam on the blue that Eric is now going to try to take out.
Well, right now, the way the blue guard is set up, it's very hard to remove the shot stone with a slash because you have to only catch the outside of the rock now. It looks like that's a dead jam. So I think you run this blue one off and you're in pretty good shape.
Right.
The only question is which turn they want.
That's what they seem to be debating. I like coming inside out on this
I like
one.
the inside out here too. It just takes a little more forgiving. If you over curl, you'll probably still make the shot. If you throw that outside in, you're a little wide.
You're all over
you wreck the
popping the
guard.
blue up, or even popping it up.
This will curl. Nice weight by Melissa Foote.
But they may be.
And they got it. They might even get a little roll behind. And
I was going to say, but what about the jam?
I was going to say, you probably want to sweep that as far as you can go, but it went pretty far. Okay, Eric Crum now sits 3. Well, in our new skips clinic, the skips often ask, when should you panic? And I would say this is probably, that's the time.
You're talking about
right now.
Team Moore.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think this is when you need to freeze to everything and figure something out. You have to get desperate at this point.
Even a freeze to the back yellow would bring.
You got to move that rock off the 4 foot. That's the one that's killing you right now.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And that's...
Need to hit a half a rock here. You probably will not lose the one you're running in, but at least get the one off the 4 foot. Maybe pop the other one in the open.
Yep, they're on the blue guard.
And this is going to wreck on the blue guard.
At least they can peel it out.
Now open things up. If you can roll this one on the rings, it would be a bonus, and that's just didn't hit thin enough. At this point, I'd be tempted to take the blue off the back.
Yep.
But the guard's a really aggressive call here. If you make this guard, could end the game here in the 7th. Throw this guard a few more times. Brian has a long way to go to bring that rock on the back 12 into play. He's going to have to make a double and run the rock off on the right-hand side. Yeah, they need this guard to curl. But we're on the side that does move.
Needs it to stop also. He's going for a raise now.
Now they're just going to freeze, I think. They got to get it over to the center line, and that's not a bad spot. A lot of rocks have to go away now for Brian to get more than one, and it's actually looking hard to get one. Gonna have to start with the double. This is now almost a nose double.
Line's good. Yep. Roll. Light. Yep.
It's trying hard to come back, but as we've mentioned on this side,
Yep,
any
and
wide
that's-
movement is unforgiving.
Yep, and that's just going to squirt another one in a little better. We got so many rocks in now, I think you either guard or take the blue one off the back.
Well, there's quite a pile of granite.
Yeah, Eric went for the center guard there and just plopped in the top 12, and that doesn't leave Ryan much. If he needs to get his deuce here, he's going to have to draw the back 4.
Twice.
Let's clear that. So Brian needs to draw back 4 for shot using those 2 rocks as a guard. Hope to get his 2 that way.
Final.
And we have our first final on sheet 5, our D event championship final. Brialt of Petersham defeats Kessler of Utica. Congratulations to Petersham.
Brian's looking to see if there's some way he can blow up this pile. He can bring the weight, but
you can't get rid of many rocks here at once.
No.
So if you hit the top ones, you only get rid of 2. And you're a long way from bringing that one on the back 12 into play. You'll still have 3 more rocks to get rid of. So I think his best chance is to try to go back 4 here.
looks like he's looking at a very long angle raise. Maybe he's trying to chase that one on the back 4, top 4.
It's a tough shot.
But that looks like what they're trying.
Hard line. Hard line. Hard, 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 hard. Real hard.
First shot, 7th end for Brian Moore. Trying an angle raise.
All right, so we'll
And that misses everything pretty much. Didn't curl. I think Eric could throw his rock away here.
Look at Brad stuffing another one in. Holy cow.
but I think he's throwing up another one on the. Just guard this draw line, this draw path.
Yeah, if you draw guard the in-turn draw, I think it'd be very tough to score. I mean, tough to score anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Just looking for a guard here to block this draw path. Trying to over curl. Could drop that anywhere. Didn't really block the draw path, but it just adds another rock to the pile up front.
A straight up cold draw. We saw him do this very coolly once in the fourth. Let's
Yep.
see if we can do it again.
Last rock, 7th end for Brian Moore. Looks like we have another final on sheet 2. Bryn Davis's rink from Utica over Manotick. Last rock, 7th end, Brian Moore. And that will come up late.
Yep. Meanwhile, we have another final on sheet 4. Utica Schaefer over Uno. And I think that is indeed the sound of Velcro you hear.
Well,
Paul.
you're down 9. I think not even an 8-ender will help now. So make that a final 12-3. Eric Crum over Brian Moore in our championship final. Congratulations to Eric Crum and his rink. He's had a great year. And what a way to cap off his year so far than to win the Cobb.
Well, there are still 2 games on the ice. We have a barn burner on sheet 6 where Nutmeg and Balkville are tied coming home.
Brockville.
Balkville, what did I say?
Brockville.
Oh, Brockville.
Not Balkville. That's up the road
Brockville,
here.
yeah, down the road. Sorry, Brockville.
So on sheets 1 and 6 where we actually don't have cameras, we'll see if we can swing our webcam around to sheet 6. We'll do our best job here.
Well, this is a final rock underway,
Is
so
it? Oh,
yep.
never mind.
All Nutmeg has to do is hit and stick. Which they have done to take a 1.
Nutmeg's a final.
Yep.
5-4. They win their game.
And that leaves us Burlington versus RCMP on sheet 1 with 2 rocks to go. While we're getting that set up, we'll try to paint the picture. We've got red, which is Burlington, sitting 2, down 2 with hammer.
We'll bring you some bonus coverage of sheet 1. There's your winning rink. Eric Crum, Melissa Foote, John Spicer, and Audrey Foote. Cobb champions 2017. Excellent game.
All right. So we have Final Blue Rock. Add Final Blue Rock, a little down the ice consultation. They are hitting.
Yep, RCMP is up 2. Burlington has the hammer. Down 2 in the final end. And they are lying 2. And that tap back or freeze attempt went wide. And so now last rock for Burlington on sheet 1, our E-Event Championship final. And they have a draw for 3 to win this game. I'm sure everybody on the sheet is wishing they don't come up short so they don't play an extra end.
Indeed.
So bonus webcam coverage from our booth here on behind sheet 3. Just need to touch paint. Everybody's wishing they don't come up short. And they do touch paint, and that's 3 for Burlington, and that's the game. So congratulations, Burlington, on their win. And it's a wrap.
Now we are going to try and experiment with the awards ceremony. We're setting up a mobile site, so we may be back on air, but for now.
When you stop broadcast, give it about a 10-second wait before you stop it from here, because it chops it off for some reason. YouTube cuts. So wait like 10 seconds until it kills us.
Okay. So we're going to try and experiment with a mobile unit and broadcast the award ceremony.
Right, so I hope everyone's enjoyed today's championship final. This is Roger Ollett together with Mary Jane Walsh. We've enjoyed bringing this game to you, and look for us again soon on the Utica Curling Club channel.
Yes, because we have lots of action coming up. We have the Francis Dykes 5 and under men's next weekend.
And the following weekend, we have the USA Curling College
it's 2 weekends
Championships. Well, it's March 10th.
Oh, is it?
Yep.
My goodness, time
March
flies
10th.
when we're organizing a national event.
So, bing, bing, bing. So, look for us soon, and we'll see you again soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everybody.